In this video, I'm going to give you my top 4 signs that your employer is getting ready to fire you. First, before I begin, nothing in this video is legal advice. I am an employment lawyer in Seattle, Washington, but I don't know anything about your specific situation. To get legal advice, you need to talk to a lawyer about your situation specifically. Okay, let's begin. The first sign that your company is getting ready to fire you is a noticeable shift in management's attitude towards you. And this shift in attitude can sometimes be subtle and sometimes can be very overt. But in talking to my clients about the events leading up to their termination, it usually begins with this noticeable shift in the way that the company deals with them. For example, maybe management at one time was very friendly with you, and all of a sudden you notice that management is now cold and standoffish. That would be a subtle shift. A more overt shift in attitude may include management changing your assignments, giving you less favorable assignments, or no assignments at all. And sometimes management changes the worker's job duties altogether. Another thing to look out for in this shift in attitude is a change in communication styles. For example, management may begin only communicating with you verbally and not in writing. And it can also go the other way. Management may start only communicating with you in writing and not verbally. Whatever the case may be, the thing to look out for is a distinct shift in the way that the company interacts with you. And a shift like this is by no means a definitive sign that you're getting fired. But if they are getting ready to fire you, this is usually the first sign. The next sign to look out for is write-ups and reprimands. And a lot of the time, these write-ups and reprimands are completely bogus. If your company is planning on firing you and it wants to protect itself from a lawsuit, it will at some point want to create a paper trail that it can point to as proof that you were a bad employee. And companies create this paper trail by writing you up for things. Maybe they write you up for performance deficiencies, or maybe it's because of insubordination. One I see a lot is write-ups for tardiness. And a dead giveaway that the company is doing these write-ups as a way of setting you up to get fired is if they aren't writing other people up for the same conduct. For instance, say you get written up for being 5 minutes late, yet several other people on your team are frequently 5 minutes late and never get written up for it. That's going to be a dead giveaway that something is up. Whatever the case may be, they will come up with reasons to write you up as a way of creating written evidence that you were a bad employee, so that if you ever decide to sue them later on, they can point to these write-ups and say they had good reason to fire you. The next sign that your company is preparing to fire you is a negative performance review. And companies do this for the same reason that they issue write-ups and reprimands, to create a paper trail that they can point to show that you were a bad employee. So maybe you have an annual or quarterly performance review. If the company is getting ready to fire you, it will include negative feedback in your next review. And sometimes this negative feedback will have a sliver of truth to it, but it will be blown way out of proportion. And sometimes the negative feedback will be completely made up, not based on the truth at all. In my experience though, employers will usually bend the truth. They usually don't outright lie. They will take something that is kind of true and twist it to fit their narrative. And this is an incredibly effective tactic because it's hard to disprove something that technically happened, just not in the way that the employer said it happened. And again, they do it as a way of creating written evidence showing that you were a bad employee and that the company had good reason to fire you. The final sign to look out for, and the most definitive sign that your company is planning on firing you, is the company putting you on a performance improvement plan, or PIP for short. And a lot of the time, things won't even get this far. Employers will usually pull the trigger and fire the employee at an earlier stage of this process. And many smaller employers don't even issue performance improvement plans. But if it does get this far, and your company issues you a performance improvement plan, you can be pretty confident that they are planning on firing you. The PIP will include ways to improve your performance to meet some goal that you have to meet to keep your job. But in my experience, there is usually no way of accomplishing the goals in the PIP. Either the goals are completely subjective, like improving collaboration, or the goals are based on some performance metric that will just be almost impossible to accomplish. And the PIP serves the same purpose as those other things we talked about, like write-ups and negative performance reviews. It creates a paper trail that the company can use as evidence to show that you were a bad employee, and that it gave you every chance to improve your performance, even though in actuality it didn't really do that. So if you were given a PIP, there is a high likelihood that your employer is planning on firing you. So there you have it. Now you know exactly what to look out for to know whether your employer is setting you up to get fired. Look out for changes in attitude, followed by write-ups, reprimands, and negative performance reviews. If the employer puts you on a performance improvement plan, it's usually over at that point. And if you like this video, hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to my channel. I make videos about the laws that protect workers. The more we hold employers accountable for their wrongdoing, the more we protect other workers. That's all for me this week. See you next time.